Hello everyone, once again you're very welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. We have to take a little sidestep in this evening's video. We were actually covering some of the details of the actual summing up of Judge Hunt in respect of his guilty verdict against James Flynn and the evidence used by Judge Hunt to arrive at that guilty verdict. We did have a look at how Judge Hunt, during the course of the trial, mentioned and brought the court into Wonderland. He mentioned Alice in Wonderland in respect of some of the points and the arguments raised by James Flynn's defence team. So we have been looking now at how Judge Hunt used Wonderland to rinse and manufacture and perpetuate the false narrative created by Garda and the DPP. But we've had to slightly sidetrack that for the moment because of events on Monday last. We were in court for James Flynn's sentencing, but it was a pre-sitting of the sentencing because both defence and prosecution was putting forward their case in respect of the sentence to be imposed on James Flynn. And once again, the ugly head of Brendan Grehan's prosecution and false narrative and creating a circus in respect of a very serious court case raised its head once again. And we also had a situation that those people who never let you down, the Irish mainstream media, have once again surpassed themselves, and we do believe it is eoin Reynolds who this time created some articles in respect of what happened on Monday last. Unfortunately, Mr. Reynolds, if it's not you that penned this, we do apologise. No author has put their name to it, which in our opinion is probably just about right. But however, first thing we're going to look at here is this nonsense. Tony Brady, the father of Garda mother Aaron Brady, has been given permission to attend sentencing hearing for one of the members of the gang that carried out the Lordship Credit Union robbery, despite the state making an application for him to be excluded. This is really gutter journalism at its very best. We have used this term on numerous occasions in respect of the Irish media and them publishing articles written by the Garda press office, because this is low journalism, because it actually says there sentencing hearing for one of the members of the gang that carried out the Lordship Credit Union robbery. And if I just bring this up here, in September, the Special Criminal Court acquitted James Flynn, 32, from South Armagh of participating in the robbery of €7,000 with Lordship Credit Union. So James Flynn was actually acquitted. James Flynn, I don't believe, is from South Armagh, but nonetheless, you like to get your little dig in and paint a picture that is not unusual for the mainstream media, RTE and the likes. So there's it there. There's the two. Just bring them up again. Sentencing hearing for one of the members of the gang that carried out the Lordship Credit Union robbery. And in September, the Special Criminal Court acquitted James Flynn. So it's really scum, gutter, in the muck, down low journalism. Clickbait at very best. We've said it on numerous occasions. And Reynolds or any of the rest of the mainstream media have never printed the fact that at the time a member of An Garda Síochána lost his life in the line of duty, James Flynn's car was in the square in Crossmaglen, as was detailed by Garda James Carlin, seen on CCTV footage. So that's where we are with that. That's one part of it. Then we're going to move to another article where I'm assuming This is also penned by Mr. Reynolds. It's the Irish Independent, and judge declines to exclude Aaron Brady's father as it would not stop him propagating nonsense. Correct and right. Nothing is going to stop us propagating the truth. So that's where we differ in opinion. I do thank Judge Hunt for not acceding to the request of the pathetic Brendan Grehan, and justice was seen to be done in a small way where a member of the Irish public was allowed into a court, an open court, a public court, which is right and proper. So just going to run through a few paragraphs of this journalistic masterpiece by Billy No Name. We're assuming it's Owen Reynolds. If it's not you, Mr. Reynolds, I apologise. But as you know, we're more than happy to speak to you at any given time. So just bring up a couple of the paragraphs here. The father of Garda murderer Aaron Brady has been given permission to attend the Special Criminal Court sentencing hearing for one of the members of the gang that carried out the robbery at Lordship Credit Union, despite the Director of Public Prosecution making an application for him to be excluded. So once again, he's telling lies. He's sneaking in this, that one of the members of the gang who robbed the credit union. They haven't got a gang linked with Aaron Brady. Specifically now, they only had sort of half a gang, and now 2/3 of that half has disappeared for them. It's a pathetic investigation, and it's a pathetic attempt by Grehan and his mainstream media journalist to try and continue to push forward a false and incorrect narrative. But the further you keep digging, the deeper the hole will get, as we will see in the coming weeks. And again, you can see there, despite the Director of Public Prosecutions making an application for him to be excluded. We're dealing here with, in the grand scale of things, the whole murder. I know this is only, on Monday we were only dealing with the theft of a vehicle from Clogherhead. But in the grand scheme of things, we are dealing with the murder of a member of an Garda Síochána. Someone who, Brendan Grehan, whom you would expect to show a little bit of respect and indeed remorse for. But this can carry on in the court was complete and utter nonsense, and indeed Judge Hunt seen through it almost immediately, and it was definitely not your finest hour, Mr. Grehan. It was sort of a pathetic, half-hearted attempt, and it just brought the proceedings to a new low that allowed your friends in the Garda press office and the mainstream media puppets to publish this tripe. Mr. Justice Tony Hunt said the court would decline to impose an exclusion order today, after noting that such a measure would not stop Tony Brady propagating his nonsense. So I have said thank you to Mr. Hunt for allowing me to stay in, but I don't know whether I should actually have to, do we have to thank the likes of Judge Hunt or anyone, any of the senior members of the judiciary, that a member of the public are actually allowed into the court? Who do these people think they are in their ivory towers? Tony Brady had previously been excluded during the trial of James Flynn, who was convicted by the non-jury 3-judge court of conspiracy to steal a car that was later used in the robbery at Lordship Credit Union, during which Aaron Brady shot and murdered Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. Mr. Justice Hunt said Mr. Brady had published tendacious and offensive online video accusing Garda of committing perjury and contempt of court. Today, Mr. Brady took his place in the public gallery along with the members of James Flynn's family for a brief sentencing hearing. So that says it all. They've said that Aaron's campaign and myself have put forward, what did they say? Accusing the Garda of committing perjury and contempt of court. So yes, Garda Kenna, I still say you told lies under oath. I still say you're in contempt of court. I still say you committed perjury. There is no issue with that whatsoever. That is fact and that is detail. And just on that point, just going to bring up here a text from Aaron's follower, the campaign follower, Mr. Big Stones. 5710. I done it in 5 minutes 43 seconds, doing a speed of between 80 to 100 kilometers an hour. Try it. So thank you for that insight, Mr. Big Stones. I presume you're talking here about the trip from Monster Bison to Term Effecting Credit Union. So what I suggest you do with that, Mr. Big Stones, is record it, bring it to Garda and to Brendan Grehan, and show those, because these people have been 10 years investigating this crime and never thought of doing that. Now, obviously, we have some issues with the times, you say. That's fine, you're entitled to write and say whatever you like. But I would suggest you take that to your colleague or your friend Kenna and or Mr. Grehan and let them put it into evidence or whatever they want to do in the upcoming appeal and retrial. And see how that stands up in court. And at least it will show you showed some initiative, Mr. Big Stones, unlike Garda or Mr. Grehan, who, representing the DPP, never thought of doing that. Which is absolutely amazing. So, without a shadow of doubt, Mr. Big Stones, I suggest you take yourself and your recording, I'm sure you've recorded the journey, and give it to Garda, and that may very well be a light bulb moment for Garda, who told us during the Court of Ireland's trial he was an expert in nothing. Before proceedings began, Brendan Grehan, Senior Counsel for the State, reminded the court of a previous order to exclude Mr. Brady and applied for that exclusion to continue. He said he was making the application because new material had been published online as recently as last night, Mr. Grehan told the judge, in respect of this court's proceedings in this trial and its judgment. So this was an interesting moment for a number of reasons. So Mr. Grehan is telling the judges that the campaign, Aaron's campaign, we released a video on Sunday night in respect of gaping lies and inaccuracies in the evidence used to gain a conviction against our son, and indeed the knock-on of that was to gain a non-safe conviction against James Flynn in respect of they made a car completely disappear and they changed the car with white lights to a car with blue lights. So that's where the Alice in Wonderland came in, and we showed quite clearly that the vehicle seen 35 kilometres away from here could not have been and was not James Flynn's car, and almost certainly had nothing whatsoever to do with the more than robbery at Lordship Credit Union. One very interesting point, Judge Hunt did ask Mr. Grehan, and what did it say in this video? And yet again, like your mate, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Grehan, your friend Mr. Reynolds, you give no explanation, you're just spouting word salad about what happened, no details, no facts. You couldn't tell, it was quite simple. The Justice for Aaron Brady campaign, Mr. Hunt, said that the vehicle seen had blue lights and James Flynn's car did not have blue lights. Only one vehicle passed the farmer, where there had to have been two vehicles to pass the farmer. So the continuation of a vehicle leaving the more than robbery at Lordship Credit Union and only one large BMW passing the farmer is totally inconsistent, and it is in the realms of Wonderland, Mr. Grehan. But Mr. Grehan, you never answered the question. Why did you not answer Mr. Hunt? Judge Hunt asked a very simple question, and I'm sure you could have articulated very easily the discrepancies that was highlighted by the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. Would have been very, very simple. But you failed to do that. You turned the proceedings into a circus in an attempt to give your press office and the press office muppets like Paul Reynolds, whichever one of the Reynolds he is, Give them Muppets a wee bit of ammunition to just fire out there onto the right. The most recent video seems inconsistent with any suggestion that Mr. Brady had learned anything from the previous application. Counsel explained that Mr. Brady had moved on from speaking about witnesses. So the witnesses I was speaking about was Garda Kenna, who I said told lies. We know he told lies. He committed perjury. He told a tissue of lies in respect of the journey between Monasterboice and Termafeckin. Matters being said about the court, so we've moved on now. We've covered a wide range of issues. Scores and scores of issues that shows gaping holes and proof positive that this is a false conviction and there has been a false narrative created to obtain unsafe convictions. So that covers those points, and the final is a long paragraph, but I think it's important to cover as much of this article as possible. The court found that Flynn was an active member of the gang that carried out the robbery. There was no, again, James Flynn was acquitted of being part of the gang that carried out the robbery. How stupid is Eoin Reynolds? Does he not understand that? And he's written it later on in the article. It's a play on words and very, very dangerous and pathetic. He was intimately involved with Brady and another man in stealing the Volkswagen Passat that was used as a getaway car. Again, the Passat stolen was a blue vehicle. 2 people seen the car at the Northern robbery and said it was grey. Unbelievable. But the story continues. The court also found that Flynn drove his own BMW to a remote location in South Armagh where the Passat was set on fire. We know it cannot have been James Flynn's car. First, from the sound, before the farmer even seen the car down near Newtown, Hamilton and Cady. It could not have been James Flynn's car because of very, very loud exhaust with something possibly fitted, as described by the farmer. James Flynn's car had a factory fitted silencer, a BMW factory fitted silencer on his car. It could not have been James Flynn's car because James Flynn's car did not have, never had blue lights. The farmer states 100%, he uses those words, 100%, that BMW that drove past my farm had blue lights. No ambiguity. And then we have Alice in Wonderland again. For this to hold any credence, there would have to have been 2 vehicles. There would have to have been a BMW, as they say was James Flynn, which obviously isn't. And then the car that was burned out would have had to pass the farmer. Never happened. Only 1 vehicle. So this assertion that was James Flynn's BMW is in South Armagh near the Burnside is absolutely ludicrous. Testaments from the area. Mr. Justice Hunt said Flynn was there for an accessory before and after the robbery. See, again, the gang's gone. Where are they going to get all these other people? Everyone's an auxiliary member now because they have everyone that is Aaron's friends and those people that they were in contact. Aaron was in contact, James Flynn was in contact, their circle of friends. They don't have a gang. And obviously, if James Flynn or Aaron Brady was involved in any way, shape or form in this robbery, either both of them or one of them would have been in contact with other people whose whereabouts could be questionable and could be put at the scene of the Northern robbery. Simply couldn't happen. Because this was the most investigated crime almost certainly on this island, and the intense scrutiny of phone data and phone footage and phone coverage. So this is absolutely ludicrous. There's absolutely nothing that can put James Flynn or Aaron Brady anyone near the Lordship Credit Union at the time Garda Adrian Donoghue lost his life. However, the court was not satisfied that the state has proven its case that Flynn was a direct participant in the robbery and therefore acquitted him of the charge. Because James Flynn's car was in the square in Crossmaglen at the time Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue lost his life. Simple as. It can't get any simpler, and as these people continue to dig more holes and continue to push forward a narrative that is false, more and more people will see, and it will be highlighted, how extraordinary this framing is and how pathetic An Garda Síochána have treated their fallen colleague, and how their attempts to pull the wool over the eyes of the Irish people has been aided and abetted by gutter journalists. And the fact that the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign has been spoken about a number of times now, Eoin Reynolds, Alison Reardon, Paul Reynolds, Robin Schiller. Why is there some problem? If we go back to what Judge Hunt said, propagating his nonsense. So Tony would not stop Tony Brady propagating his nonsense. Show me where the nonsense is. 220 videos. Show us any bit of nonsense. Use our journalists. Put the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign up and say, it's nonsense that they're talking about the man that shot Adrian Donoghue was over 6 foot. Show us where that's nonsense. Aaron Brady is 5'7". Show us how that is nonsense. The car that drove away was grey, and the Gardaí are trying to say that it was a blue vehicle. We are saying it's grey. Show us that that's nonsense when the only 2 witnesses said it was grey. Show us where it's nonsense. James Flynn's car had no blue lights, and yes, the car allegedly involved in some sort of burning of a vehicle 35 kilometres away had blue lights. Where is that nonsense? And the fact that our mainstream media continue to push this bullshit and disgusting narrative is just unbelievable. We've asked you all on numerous occasions, contact us. We'd sit with any or all of you at any time and show a bit of respect for a man who lost his life during the course of duty. Because what we witnessed in Dublin beside the Phoenix Park on Monday was nothing short of disgusting. Grehan, Reynolds, at least Judge Hunt did show a little bit of decorum, for the want of a better word. And if Grehan wants us excluded from the court for any reason, why do you not highlight it? He's a gutter journalists, and you turn our stomach even looking at this in the courtroom. And if anything we have said is wrong, highlight it and we'll answer it. So that's it, folks. We're going to go back to more Alice in Wonderland, and we will show quite clearly where the prosecution brought in evidence at Curtamlet School that had absolutely, or CCTV footage, is it evidence? Well, they said it was evidence, a CCTV footage that had no relevance or connection to any vehicles or any persons, and tried to twist it and again perpetuate a narrative that is false. It's a tissue of lies. And again, Kenna, when you are talking about the 2 vehicles that passed Curtamlet School, which we never seen, did you lose that? Well, you're an expert on nothing anyway, so you may very well have lost the CCTV footage of the 2 vehicles at 22:30. But maybe someone else will have it to have a look at. You told lies about that too. More perjury, Mr. Kenna. So that's what we're going to have a look at and show, and I will show you where Judge Hunt did accept that the vehicles that Kenna, Phillips, Grehan and Steen put into a book of evidence was a tissue of fucking lies. So thank you everyone for watching. Please continue to like, comment and share. I'm going to repeat again, loads of shadow ban, load of messing with our figures, deleting messages, all that nonsense going on. But we will continue to put the videos out, and we ask you please share. Really, really, really please share. And if you have a mind to do so, please send Aaron's campaign to any public representatives. Once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video in relation to Kurt Tamlet School. Thank you.